Is this thing on? Welcome back to Big Mouth and fancy seeing you here, and welcome to Sunday's edition of the DCEU Daily. You have to stop relying on Grace Randolph as a good source for DC information, for DCEU information, for anything DC. Grace Randolph is a very successful YouTuber, but that's all she cares about, her channel. And she's decided the DCEU is the topic that will give her more prominence. She says she's a DC fan. She says she's a Batman fan. I don't believe it. I am sorry, I don't. This week we've heard her go on about Henry Cavill, saying that he should be asking for less money. And yesterday she was talking about Vixen and Warner Brothers being scared of doing a Vixen movie because they'll be accused of copying Black Panther. This is just absolute nonsense. I can assure you of that. You really think Warner Brothers care about that after what happened with Justice League and the mess they've just sorted out in the past 18 months? The woman talks absolute garbage. And I keep on hearing my fellow DCEU fans say, Grace Randolph said this, Grace Randolph said that. Grace Randolph isn't a good source. Stop watching her videos and going on Twitter and reacting negatively to things. She doesn't know anything. She has no real sources. She talks BS. Because as you and I all know, if you're a successful YouTuber, what you talk about, the DCEU. She doesn't really talk about Marvel that much. She talks about it, but she doesn't talk about the MCU. She does more DCEU videos, not because she's a DCEU fan, because she knows the clicks are there and the views are there, and that's what she's trying to do. So she's trying to say that Warner Brothers don't want to do a Vixen movie. Absolute nonsense. That they're worried about the racial thing. They're not worried about the racial thing. You know, of course they want representation in the DCEU, but they also want to make great movies. People like Grace Randolph are, I'm sorry to say it, the scum of the earth. She isn't a very, look, I don't know her as a real person, so I want to put that to one side. I respect and admire what she's achieved. First of all, there are very, very few successful YouTubers as successful as Grace Randolph, and I respect her, and I like the way she does her videos. I don't like the BS she talks about when she talks about the DCEU. I can't even watch her videos anymore. I'm still subscribed to her, but the nonsense she says about the DCEU is so deep, so deeply wrong, that I just can't have anything to do with her anymore. So there's that. And you know, I think if we move away from Grace, there's still this conversation that Warner Brothers are to blame for the mess that Justice League was. Well, I don't think they was, to be honest with you. I think Warner Brothers made the mistake in, you know, giving power to too many creatives involved with the DCEU. Zack Snyder, Jeff Johns, David Goyer, Christopher Nolan. Too many cooks spoil the broth. Too many cooks spoiled that broth. And this is why Justice League ended up as a mess. And there's another issue. As much as I love Zack Snyder, Justice League was literally not fit for purpose in the sense that it could only be certified as an R-rated movie. And Warner Brothers wanted a family, you know, superhero IP. And, you know, Zack went and made an awesome R-rated cut, which is the Snyder cut, which is what we all want to see and what we all love. But it wasn't the movie Warner Brothers wanted. This is the thing here. So as much as I love what Zack did with the DCEU, and a lot of people, not a lot of people, a few people have said they've seen bits and pieces of the Snyder Cut. I think it's amazing. I'm sure it is. But an R-rated hardcore movie is not what the studio wanted. And at the end of the day, the studio own these characters. What the studio say goes. So I think it's very, very, very important that when we're in these situations, when we do work for these companies, we respect them a little bit. And this is why it ended up a mess. But Warner Brothers were absolutely wrong to have all these people in charge. So what they've done now, they've gone to someone in Walter Hamada that they trust, that they know. You know, Walter Hamada is an intelligent man. He's already genius decisions like creating a Trench spin-off movie from Aquaman is an awesome idea. A lot of people are getting their butts hurt about it. I don't know why. And let's get something else straight while I'm here. As I say, my mother's still in a critical condition. I can't keep on doing videos all day, but I'm definitely going to do one DCEU daily a day because I think I owe you guys that much for coming in and supporting the channel. Just because they're doing a trench movie, just because they're doing other smaller character movies, it doesn't mean they're not doing Batman and Superman. People who say they're ignoring Batman and Superman, you do actually understand that a Batman movie is in development to be released in 2021. You understand Matt Reeves, one of the most prominent directors in this generation's industry, is making a Batman film. He's talked about it, about being a noir movie. I'm excited for that movie, and so should you be. But stop going on Twitter saying, oh, they're dialing back on Batman and Superman. They're not. We will get another Superman film starring Henry Cavill. We're definitely getting another Batman film. So where is all this negative chat coming from? I don't get it. I don't get it. It's frustrating to have to see it all day. Oh, they're not doing Superman. Oh, they're not doing Batman. We all know they are. And they will do a Vixen movie. So one of the main themes of this video is Grace Randolph, and I don't want to make Grace Randolph the theme of a DCEU daily video, but I think it's only right that she can say and do what she wants, as we all can in a democracy. But I think the moment you take her word as law, in terms of the DCEU, I think, Houston, we really have a serious problem. The DCEU has just come off its most successful film. We should be freaking dancing in the streets, not saying, oh no, oh look at Black Canary, she don't look like Black Canary, after one freaking picture. What's wrong with you people? I mean, come on. We should be excited. Black Canary will wear her iconic costume. She will. You just haven't seen her in it yet. And anyone who says this isn't the case is a liar. We know the agenda against the DCEU. And I don't want you, the fans, being part of that agenda. As I say, we've come off Aquaman, a really successful film. Of course they're going to milk it dry. Of course they're going to have spin-offs. They're a business. You know, you've got to respect that. But they also want to create a brilliant DCEU franchise with many, you know, expanding universes. Universes, you know, within universes. That's what they can do within their movies. There's no problem with that. I didn't see anyone moaning when there were rumours that Russell Crowe and Michael Shannon were going to do a Zod and a Jor-El Krypton movie. That would have been pretty exciting. And that didn't happen because obviously everything's changed now. I still hope it does happen, by the way, because that would be awesome. But I think with the Krypton TV show now, it probably isn't going to happen. But so this is what happens within the comics themselves. You know, expansion, you know, universes beyond universes. It's fun. It doesn't mean they don't do Superman comics and Batman comics, does it? It's still there. It still works. The DCEU is a beautiful franchise. It was before Justice League and it is after Justice League. We should just be excited because this franchise, our franchise, will go from strength to strength. Is it sad what happened to Zack Snyder, that we never saw his cut? Of course it is. Do I still want to see that cut? Yes. Do I hope there's a place for him within this franchise still? Yes. But I understand it's unlikely. At the end of the day, we've got to understand that this is a business. But it doesn't mean it's a negative thing. It doesn't mean having a trench movie from Aquaman is a negative thing. These are exciting things. I want to see the horror aspect of the DCEU. I want to see the light side. I want to see the dark side. I want to see it all. Give Walter Hamada a chance and he will give you everything you want to see.